Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you how I make a homemade fabric mask. Now, I'm not a professional seamstress. My channel is all about beauty and nails, as you already know. But I've been making these for my whole family, and I actually also have been selling them on eBay. I will include the link in the description. So I have this little pattern that I already pre-made it. So this is for a woman teenager. So I have 6.5 in height and 8 in length. So the way this pattern works, I double it. So you see the material, it's actually a pillowcase, but it's folded in half. So it's folded in half, so when you actually cut it, you have double of the material, which is still going to be 8 inches long, but now 13 inches in length. So let's do this. Now I do have my little one with me, so I will once in a while talk to him, so just don't get distracted. There we go. So here is my cutout. Now let's cut this out.
Good job.
Oh, thank you, baby. You helping mommy?
No, I am watching.
You just watch it?
Yeah, I'm not just helping you.
Mm.
I don't say that. I'm not watching. I'm not talking with you. I just watching this. I was watching you.
Okay. So here is our cutout.
Hmm.
So we could actually put this away. And just to show you,
Yes, we have what I get.
now you have this long one. So it's still, no, wrong way. 8 in width, and we have 12, approximately 13, and so in length. So the way we're gonna do this now is fold it back. Okay, so it's now time for the iron. So I open this thing up, and from both sides, these are the raw sides. Sorry for the shaking, I am on my iron board. Like I said, I'm not a professional, I only have the necessary items to do this. So we fold this right here, just a little tiny bit. And this is probably approximately less than half an inch, about a quarter of an inch. And now we iron this all the way through. This is just gonna make it easier for us to sew it. So now we have this one little seam. Now we're gonna flip it again. And this now it's going to be about almost half an inch. Doesn't have to be exactly on the spot. And now we iron this. So this is going to help your mask be stronger and for the material to not shred. There we go. So one side is done. We're gonna turn this around and we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. Now it's done. Needle down and slowly let's go. Now this is not a race, so take your time, slowly or fast if you have the experience. Now cut the thread, and this is what we get. Nice little seam, and from the other side like this. Like I said, I'm not an expert, so my seams are not straight at all. I try my best. Now cut it, and the same thing. Beautiful. Okay, so we're back on my ironing board, as you see by the pattern. Now we're going to fold this back together. We're going to make sure that the ends are actually even. You don't want anything sticking out on the sides. Now I'm just going to quickly iron this to make a seam at the top so I know where to go. Now my next step is I actually have this pre-made, so it's a lot easier for me. Now if you guys want me to show you how I made one of these, please request it in the comments and I have no problem showing it to you. It's the simplest thing to do, but it makes your work so much easier. So basically this is what you have. Again, you have this set up already. It's even. So you flip it over, and at the edge of your ironing board, you basically it's just easier for me to do it this way. You slide it and you fold it in, and this is what you end up with. Again, I apologize for the shaking, but a regular ironing board, it's not really that stable. So now what I do is I iron this. Iron it, making sure that everything is in place. Iron it right over the paper. The paper is actually from a filing folder. It's nice and thick, and it actually takes the heat very well as well. Hot, 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 hot. Right, so now you just basically pull this off, and this is what you got. So now I go over this again, just to have a little nicer crisp of the folds. You flip it over and you iron the other side to have it nice and crisp. There we go, it's beautiful. And done. So now we're gonna take this back to the sewing machine. Okay, now that we are back to my original form. Now I need the ear pieces. So I have this little string. It's a cotton string. It's pretty nice. So now we need about 6.5 inches in length for a woman's size.
Mommy.
Yes, my love.
Where Daddy and Tyler go?
Skylar went to see Mommy.
And where Daddy go?
Daddy's driving Skylar to see Mommy.
Oh.
So we cut 2 pieces. 1
Mommy, this. I want to do this.
and 2. Now, the length of the string varies depending on the type of a string that you use. After so many masks made and different strings used, I ended up using this one as the easiest on your ears, and this one you need about 6.5 for a woman's size. So let's say we got 2 strings, put this away, scissors to the side, and now we're gonna be working with the mask and the string. Okay, so I'm back at my sewing machine. Sorry for the background noise, but my 3-year-old is watching Teen Titans Go. Gotta keep him entertained. I'm actually set up in my dining room because I have no other place to do this. So we open this up. As we open it, here's the middle seam, and you have these nice little crispy folds. Now, a lot of people will use these type of clips, or actually even pins to keep things in place. So once you put the string in, you could clip it with a pin. You can clip it on the side or on this way, whichever works actually better for you, just for you to help you with the guide and for the string not to fall off or run somewhere to the side. I've made so many that I actually don't need to use that no more. All I really do is I set this one here and I put this one right there, and then I just put on top. Now you flip this over. And we start sewing. Now also, when you flip this over, you have to make sure it looks like this. You don't put one side of the folds into the other. They just have to be laying basically one on top of another. So when you open this up, it's just basically opening up like this, okay? So let's start sewing. Okay, so when I put this here, I just make sure that my string is right where I want it. Now, I'm not worrying about the bottom yet. I'll get there once I start sewing. So, there we go. Needle down. And you go. Now back to make sure your thread doesn't break or come off. So this actually, you just went over the E-piece 3 times. So that should be strong enough to keep it in place. And now you basically go. Just make sure you're straight. You don't pull on the material. If something starting folding up, just pick this up, straighten it, and put it down. And go. Slowly. Take your time. And now we are almost at the end. So now I'm going to pick this up with the needle still in the material. And I'm just going to make sure that my string is in place. So I actually use these clips to just grab it and place it where I want it. See, about here. I close it out, hold it in the ends, put it down, and keep on going. Now we reach the end, and now we're going to go back to go over the string again, so we know it's actually in place and it's not going to come off when you pull on it. Cut the needle and take it out, and there we go. Now let's do the other side. Okay, so this is our mask. See, the seam that we did is out, and it's out. It has an opening for a filter, and here is our E-pieces inside. So now what I do before I actually flip this mask is I clean the sides. Make sure they're nice and even. There's no need for any extra material. Cut off all this thread that's hanging out. That's very unattractive maybe. Okay, so now that we've cleaned it up, we need to flip it since it is inside out. So all I do is I put my 2 fingers inside to the corners. Okay, there's my corners, and I just flip it and make sure that the corners are done properly. It can be fixed with a pen, a toothpick, probably not, maybe a chopstick, and just flip it. By making it even, you just basically pull on it and you are done. So now I'm not going to show you again, but I iron this before I put in the nose wire. So let me quickly iron this and I'll be right back. Alright, so sorry for this ring that's showing right here. This is actually my light, and it's a reflection of it in my glass table. But anyway, now it's time. This is how your mask looks. Very nice and stretchy, very comfortable. You get these beautiful crisp seams. Now once you wash it, you iron it back and it's going to come back in place. It also has that seam that we did in the beginning, and it's doubled, so there's nothing sticking up. Also has an opening for any type of a filter you want to put, whether it's just a tissue or if you have one of those N95 filters, you can put it inside. So now it's time for the nose wire. So I do use pipe cleaner. So for this one especially, I use this size. Where's my ruler? Oh, there we go. So this size is practically about 5.5, 5 3/4. So what I do this before I actually put this into the mask, I make sure that the corners are rounded off so you don't get hurt and poked in the face with this wire. So basically all I do is round it off, pinch one side, pinch the other, then I grab it from both sides and I just twist it. And this kind of like puts one wire into the other. But before I do this, I actually check if there's anything sticking out. If it is, I just do it again. Okay? So now it's time to go back into sewing. But before I do it, I basically just open this up. I put this inside. I make sure that it's about the same length where it starts and where it ends. Now I'll show you how I sew this together. So now that we have our wire inside the mask and it's in place, I do 2 stitches. So the wire is right here. If I could do this for you better. There we go. So the wire is right here. And we are stitching about here. And I'll show you why. So just keep on watching. Needle down. Now this right here is always my guide. So this way my stitching is not all over the place. It's as straight as possible. So slowly, 1, 2, and then I go 1, 2 back. So I make sure the stitches are sealed. All right, so now let's go throughout the whole length. And as I go, I make sure and I double check that the wire is not going out of place. It has happened before that the wire went across for some reason and I went right over it, broke my needle, mask is destroyed, or I just have to take the stitches out and fix it. So slowly, there's the wire, and we're stitching about right here. Now let's finish this up, and that's my guide. Once I got to the end, I go back 1, 2, sometimes 3, cut this, cut the thread. My goodness, I'm really having a hard time speaking today. And now I'm gonna use my little clippers, and I'm just gonna get rid of this string, because if I don't, I will have a little spider of string mess. So this is what it looks like now. Stitching is very pretty, very even. So now the second stitch that I do, which actually is going to hold, because right now if you actually want to move it, you could still move it, but that's not necessary. We want it to stay in place. So I'm going to now switch my needle from here, from this spot right here to here, only because it's just easier to grab the material. And I'm going to place my needle not here, but like right at the edge of the material. Okay, so now this is still pipe cleaner, so you know the wire inside is very small and it has those little feathery things. So when I stitch this side now, I'm just basically going to go through the feathery thing, and that's going to keep the wire in place. So again, needle down, slowly, 1, 2, okay, 3. Now back, seal the stitching, and now go very slowly right at the end. So this really doesn't have a guide. I kind of guide myself. So I try to do this as slowly as possible and as close to the edge as possible. So once this is done, I'll show you exactly what I mean. There we go. Now I could go faster. There we go. Now, seal the stitch, back going back 1, 2, maybe 3. No need to go any more than that. Cut the string, and now just get rid of all this unnecessary thread. If you don't have one of these, you can just use regular scissors. Clean it up, make it nice and neat. So this is what happens when you actually have extra string. It just takes it right in. But anyway, it's done. So let me show you. So we are all done. So this is our mask. It is nice. It's soft and durable. It has a filter packet. Nice strings. Now, if the strings are too big, you could always size it. Take the two together, tie a little knot to the size, and just pull it. So the string is always workable if it's too big or too long, but you can't really do much to it if it's too small. Now, these are my stitching with the wires. So this is the first one that we did right here. And now this is the second one. You really don't need to do the second one. I just kind of like the way it looks. It looks a little bit more professionally done. It looks more nice and neat. And that's it. And we are all done. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I helped you a little bit. It's very simple to do this. Now, if you don't have a sewing machine, you can use this and do this by hand. So basically, the places that I showed you where I stitched with a sewing machine, you just need to use a needle and a thread and just go over it, okay? Any questions or any other requests, please comment below, and I will be able to reply to them and do any additional videos if you guys request any. Thank you. Stay safe. We all love you, and we'll see you soon. Bye.